Okay, let's get the mic set up. And this mic is set up. And we can start. All right then. Hello, no webcam. Man, we've been having that problem like every week lately. Hang on a second. We're gonna fix that. This is no fun without the webcam. Let's see if we can figure that out. Maybe we'll go FaceTime camera today. Are we there? Is it there? Ah, there I am. Cool. So, my name is Mike Bifulco. I am Technical Director for Gymnasium. Gymnasium, as you may well know, is an online, self-paced, video-based, free to register, free to take, free to complete code school. We have some wonderful, phenomenal courses on not just code, but design, strategies, tooling, technologies, all kinds of stuff having to do with being successfully in the workplace as a creative, as a developer, as a designer type person in this world that we live in. I am here, like I am most Tuesdays, to live stream some of my work. We've been working on a replacement for Gymnasium.com using Gatsby. We're building a marketing page with Gatsby. It's coming together pretty quickly. We're starting to get things into place. And what I wanted to do this week is kind of continue with what we did last week. I'll go review what we worked on and then move forward a bit. So you can see I've got a bunch of stuff open already. I'm going to start with this here. We, last week, plumbed in microcopy. So microcopy, the notion of microcopy, for the purposes of this site at least, is to give us the ability to include some text on the page that we're pulling from our CMS, which we can include on any page wherever we see fit. So actually, for example, this is a good target for some microcopy. So let's show you how this would work. I'm going to come into our CMS. We use a CMS called TakeShape. You can check it out at takeshape.io. We are going to go into our microcopy. We're going to hit new. We're going to put in footer slogan is what we'll call this. Description, slogan text that appears in the footer of every page below the Gymnasium logo. Don't need to be that specific. And here's all we're going to put in here. Bridging the gap between education and opportunity with free online courses. We're going to hit save here. That will publish the footer slogan. We're now going to come back in. I'm just going to copy this because we'll need it in a second. Hit cancel. In the background, I'm going to restart my app. And we're going to come into the software here, and I'll show you how this works. So if we go to my footer and open it up, we can see that in the footer, we should be able to find that text somewhere in here. Bridging. There we go. Now, what we want to do is include this microcopy component that we created. I'm starting to type slowly, hoping that autocomplete will save the day for me at some point here. My computer seems to be running quite slowly because, let's see, is Time Machine backing up? No, for once. Okay, well, fine. All right, so we have created a component called microcopy, which we're going to import from .. which in the footer directory brings us up to components. Then we can use our microcopy. And I believe I said ID, and it was the name of it. No, title. We might change that to ID one day. But now what this will do is it'll include that bit of microcopy based on the title that we gave it, which is hyphenated only by convention. In the background, this thing recompiled and started from scratch, which means that it went out to take shape and got our new copy. And now if I come here, in the footer, we have two of the same thing here, because we're including one of them. If I open my DevTools here, and I let my React DevTools load, ooh, look at that. Okay, we'll fix that in a second. If I let my React DevTools load here, and I use this target button, I can click on this, and we can see how this was created in React as a microcopy with the title of footer slogan. There's a static query within it, and then a context consumer, presumably used by something that the query bit generates, and then below it is the old one. So we can see pretty easily that we have recreated this. And so the only difference, if I now go to the elements inspector and I inspect this from here, the only difference is that now this is wrapped in a div, and I think we even included some ability for me to say, yeah, component microcopy component equals p, which will change that div to a paragraph. Once this thing reloads, it should reload. There we go. Now I've got a paragraph with a paragraph inside of it. We don't really need that, so I'm just going to get rid of this. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if there's a way to fix that. Huh, not really. Because you can't do that with a fragment. There might be some trickery to do this, but I don't think that's even strictly necessary. So now we've got our component rendered on this page, and now we've got our content coming from CMS. So if I wanted to change this, or if there was a typo in this, we could deploy that typo from the CMS rather than having to go and create a pull request within code and do all that nonsense. And that in itself is pretty powerful. That's pretty cool. So we are going to take this change and commit it momentarily here. There's some other things I want to go over that I've also added, and we'll sort of start from here and carry on with adding to the site here. Wow, my computer's going pretty slow. Hi there, Dr. Sajima. Sajima. Things are going well. How are you? Thanks for tuning in here. So we're going to come in here, we're going to commit this footer change, and we'll say add micro copy to footer. Why not? Commit it. This will then get added to a pull request that I opened just minutes ago. Dr. Sajima, I'm curious how you found the stream. Let's switch over to GitHub. We can see this pull request is processing. It's going to build on Netlify where we're hosting this thing, and then it'll come back. In the back end, we can talk about the other trouble that I've gotten us into. We just started creating, just added a plugin to the project called Dependabot, which is a tool that was just acquired by GitHub, and I thought it was interesting and worth taking a look at. Just scrolling through Science and Technology directory. Cool. Well, thank you for being here. For a little bit more context, so we're rebuilding the front end marketing site for the Gymnasium.com, which is a free online code school. I am technical director, and I jump on every Tuesday afternoon to do this. I'm located on Eastern time in the U.S., so it's 1:40 over here. I'm usually on from 1:30 to 3 every Tuesday, and I appreciate you being here. Okay, so let's talk about Dependabot. So what it does is it takes a look at projects that are on GitHub and analyzes dependencies for that project and automatically submits pull requests for updates to those dependencies. So I believe I've configured it. It is, yeah, okay. So it's running through. It's found for this project, which for now we're calling Gym Front End. It's found package.json and is scanning my package.json file for dependencies. Now that I think of it, one thing that I need to do for this project is choose whether or not we're going to be using yarn or npm, because I think we have a package lock in here which needs to go. So I'm going to get rid of that, and we'll commit that here, which seems more or less unrelated, but that's okay. remove package. Oh, sorry, you can't see the screen. We'll commit this, we'll push it. It should come back up to here and re-kick off that build on Netlify, which is perfectly fine. And then we'll merge that and we'll take a look at what Dependabot has to say. In the meantime, we're gonna switch gears a bit here. So part of the reason that we started in on that microcopy journey last week was because we were starting to think about building out this courses page. And in fact, we did start doing some of that work in here. So if I go to the courses page that we've got built, we started building out the full course listings here, and beneath that, which you can see here, is this bit of microcopy, which is included in our CMS, which is lovely. We basically achieved, so this is the end goal. The page we're looking at right now is sort of the design goal. On the right, on this tab here, which, by the way, I need to update my favicon, however you say that. But on this page, this full courses description comes from microcopy, as well as this gym shorts one. And then take 5 is a new category, and below that there is no description, but it is included via microcopy anyway, so that one day when that's updated to have a description, it'll be there. So in other words, there's an empty paragraph here, which has a minimum size. I think that's kind of funny. We might adjust that to no longer be there. So what we're going to do today is start to fill in some of the detail here. So I may start with this navigation here, make this work a little better, or work a little better, look a little better. Right now, this is all sorts of jammed in here and not great. So we should change that to match the design here. We'll probably add in the column split here with the dashed border, as well as some of these borders that appear above the listing, and I guess it's just above the listing of courses, not below, and get some of the structure of this page in place. And basically we're, at this point, plugged into the CMS. We're getting content from the CMS, we're getting bits of copy from the CMS, we have navigation set, we have deployment set. We are essentially just off to the races now and kind of starting to fill in the blanks. Later on, what we'll start to do is plug in this find work component, which is a bit of dynamic content on the page, which we will figure out a good way to make that happen, probably using a technology called React Loadable, which we can use for dynamic content on the page. So pressing on, we're going to start with this here. Let me take out my headphones. I don't really need those right now. So let's start with that. I'm gonna take a look at this bit of navigation that we're using for this here. We will open that up in code. We're gonna figure out where that is. It's likely in pages and then courses and index. So we're gonna go to pages, we're gonna go to courses, we're gonna go to index.js. As we expected, we have our 3 sections here with full courses, gym shorts, and take 5. Each of them have their own respective descriptions included, and at the top is the nav here. So our job is to style this nav, and we can do that. So we're going to say class name equals classes.nav.subnav, we'll call it. Subnav is one word. And let me zoom in here, sorry. To do that, we're going to pull up courses.module.js. We're going to say nav.subnav, just to be hyper specific here. And we'll bring this off to the side, which will make life a little bit easier. And then in our subnav, we're going to start to build out this sort of a look. So it looks like it's got some padding. So we're going to say padding 1 rem 0. See what that looks like. Great already. And we have a nav subnav A. For each of those, we're going to say padding right 1 rem. I'll open those up. Looks about right. Text transform uppercase. Color is going to be var black. theme.css gym black. Great. And they need to be emboldened. And that is called Gym Font Stack. Yeah. Come back in here, and that's already starting to look good. Now, on hover, we have this interesting hover behavior where they turn orange. And actually, it looks like we're not using underline here. So nav.subNav hover. Color, I'm going to do var gym orange. Oops. Okay. We're going to bump up the font size a little bit. That may be a little too big. That's great. They're turning orange. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong one. So we're actually using a border and not a underline. So we're going to say text decoration none. Border bottom. Okay, so here's what we got here. We can see that that border is going somewhere we don't want it to go. That's because we used a padding here. We're going to use a margin instead. Now the border should obey. That looks great. And so we've got those looking like we want them to. Even navigate. How do you like that? Great. Okay. So actually, while I'm at it, I should likely, well, we can do this on the same branch. It's not really great too. Let's let this thing finish what it's doing, and we'll start on a new branch before I commit any of this stuff. Anyway, so that's all it takes to make our subnav look like it should. I have to tell you, the comparison between this and our old world, where we were building this using a very complicated pipeline of Sass and Django and Python, those changes, each one of those little tweaks I just did would have taken up to 10 minutes to compile and would have been an absolute nightmare. And to be able to rock through them in 10 minutes or so total, with explanations, with me sort of pontificating and going slowly here, is pretty incredible and a gigantic quality of life improvement. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, let's go on to the right-hand column stuff. So right now, we have this container with one row and one big column, and we're going to do a column here, and we're going to say MD equals 3, and then XS equals hidden. Maybe XS hidden. I don't know. What's in that right-hand column? It probably shouldn't be hidden. Maybe it should be hidden. We have some responsive decisions to make here. That's okay. And then on the right-hand side here, for now, I'm just going to copy some of this content here so that there's a placeholder there. That will not be what ends up there, but we should see this right-hand column pop into existence. Great. It is on a gray background, which is not ideal. So we're going to have to figure that out. Course list container. Okay, so we're going to put a div here. We'll call it page content container, and that's where we'll put that white background in. That is around this container. Yeah, cool. So we're going to do this. Do this. We'll do, get rid of that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, not perfect. That should go inside of the container, perhaps. We'll figure it out. Yep. And then we want this up here, and that can go away. Okay, that's already starting to come around. So you can see how one is starting to look like the other. We may increase the padding a bit. Let's see. It's a little nicer. Okay. Actually, it looks like we probably want this to be page content container H1 and H2, because we're going to have H1s and H2s over here. And because of that, right now this course list container is not particularly useful. Right? So we can get rid of it. We'll stay minimal with my markup when possible here. Yeah, page still looks good. We're going to go to the right-hand side here. We're going to put in an H1. And then this, what does this one say? Find work. This will one day be, actually we'll do upcoming courses first. Actually, yeah, that's great. So that's going to be another opportunity for us to use the CMS. And we can create some components for that. So we're going to do upcoming courses list. We're going to create a component. That's great. Okay, let's close this thing. We're going to create a component called upcoming courses list. In our components, in our index, this is going to be broken for a while. Courses list from okay, and then we're going to create that in its own folder. And then in here, we'll create an index.js where we'll have that same line, and then, oops, did I name that KS? We want to rename to JS, please. We're going to say import React from React. Const upcoming courses list equals props. And then in here, for now, we're going to do return H1 and upcoming. Actually, it looks like that should be an H2. Maybe this page will unbreak. We might honestly have to restart it. Courses page. Okay, I think we probably need to restart this thing. Upcoming courses list was not found in / upcoming courses list. Did I misspell this? Possibly. No, let's restart, just to be safe. In the meantime, I'm going to jump back to GitHub for a second, see if this build is done. Yeah, it looks like it. So we can merge this PR here. It's complaining. Wait, why is it complaining? Oh, no one's reviewed it. Yeah, that's okay for now. Okay, cool. And in the back end here, there are now 5 other pull requests that are open from Dependabot. Wow, some big ones. That's interesting. 4 to 8. Okay, well, we can take a look at that. looks like there's updates to React DOM, Gatsby plugin manifest, prettier, and Gatsby plugin sharp. So let's look at the form these things take. So each pull request should have one update in the form of package lock.json, likely because if I go to package.json and I look at React DOM, basically because it doesn't have to change the definition of that. Yeah, okay. So what this is saying is this will update the lock file to, what's the diff here? What in the heck? Oh, package lock, right. Shoot. Alright, we're going to close all of these and then re-kick them off, because that's not what we want. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of crap going on here. Alright, we're going to come into Dependabot and start this nonsense all over again. Let's get rid of any stale branches sticking around. Actually, it looks like Dependabot is removing those itself. Yeah, wow. Okay. Bump now. What it should do is open up some pull requests against this branch shortly. We'll let that be for now. This has probably come back. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Compiled with warnings. Upcoming courses list was not found in upcoming courses list. Okay, what did I do wrong here? That's what I did wrong. Alright. Bring this back. Great, we've got this lovely upcoming courses list here. And what we're going to start to do is build out an upcoming course entry, which will look like this. Little title and a description and a border above it, and that's all. We can make that happen. So in here, we're going to do upcoming course.js. We're going to export it. And we know we're going to get a course in here. We're going to define the things that we expect to come in there. That might not be called description. We'll go take a look at that in a second. Okay, let's go into the CMS and take a look at what the courses are. It has a we'll call it short description here. And then we can go and look at the HTML that we have on the existing design. I'm betting that's an H3. Ought to be. Ooh, it's an H2. Okay. Makes enough sense. We'll say H2. Ah. Make my code a little easier. If there's no course, we're gonna get rid of, yeah, we're not gonna display anything. There we go. And that is likely a paragraph. Yeah, okay. And so what is this saying here? This is saying we're going to display this upcoming course thing. If there's no course, we'll return null. So we don't do anything if there's no course provided as a prop to this thing. If there's a course provided and it has a display name, we'll display that display name inside of an H2. That's just a bit of error checking so that it doesn't crash if there's no display name. And then if there's a short description, we'll put it in a paragraph below that. And that's it. And it looks like these are in a section. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to add a new file called upcoming course.module.css, which we will bring off to the right here and include import classes from great. And then we can get rid of that. We're gonna we'll have to figure out the logic for upcoming courses here. That's going to be interesting. I don't have a great actually we can simplify this. This is not too hard at all. So let's do it this way. So in the props for this, we're going to define prop types. Upcoming courses list dot prop types equals courses prop types dot array of I thought there was array of type. One of type, I see. Okay, we want array of, and then we're gonna say prop types dot shape, and then we're gonna copy the shape from here. Oops. Go. Okay, so the courses will be an array of those. We're going to do return that. Oops. And then we're going to do, let's see, this is going to go in a fragment. And then we're going to do courses.map course, and for each course we're going to return an upcoming course. Just like that. And then we'll do we might need an ID here. So we'll do, let's see, key equals course.id. Okay, that should do the trick. Now we just have to do a little more magic with getting this pulled from GraphQL from our database. So we'll import our GraphQL from Gatsby. We're going to do export const query to set up our GraphQL query for this page. And in here, we're going to do take shape. And now we need to create a content type for upcoming courses. List of upcoming courses on Gymnasium.com. Multiple. And all we need is a title and a description. Title. The courses title. This, of course, is required. And then a paragraph, perhaps. And we're going to call this short description. A short description of this, the whatever goal of this course. Boy, sorry, my phone's blowing up over here. Okay. We will create this content type, and then we're going to mock, we're going to mock the upcoming courses that are here. So we will go to upcoming courses. We'll say new upcoming courses. This should be upcoming course. New upcoming course. Title is that. It'd be ironic if I made that all capital. And then we'll put in the paragraph description. Lovely, lovely. We'll save it. We'll create another one. This one, Introduction to Web-Based Realities, AR, VR. Copy that. We will save it, hit save. That'll now both be added to our CMS. And if we close this and recompile it, we'll come back and have that stuff pulled from CMS so that we can query it using GraphQL. We'll construct the GraphQL query to pull it. Yeah, and then we should have that upcoming courses bit done fairly shortly here. Give this just a second. Okay, that's up. So now we're going to open up our GraphQL editor and look at how we would put together this GraphQL query, which we've done before, but I feel like going through this regularly keeps us all sharp on how to do it. So we're going to do, we're going to do, take shape. We're going to do all upcoming. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Dang, I always forget this. So it's not going to be in here because I didn't clear my Gatsby cache. So Gatsby clean. Then we'll start it, and it'll take a bit for this to happen. Give it a second. Okay, now when we come back and we pull open our editor and refresh the editor, so you have to go and refresh the page or it won't clear the cache. I think it's in local storage or something like that. We'll do get upcoming course list. And then we're going to do items, and we're going to do title, and we're going to do short description, and we're going to do ID. And then we'll run this, and there's our 2 upcoming courses. And so now we've got our GraphQL query, which we can dunk into here. We'll hit save. That should formulate that. This prop types thing isn't great. We really need to wrap this in. So that'll be courses there. We could do this. You can see my GraphQL brain and my JSON brain getting messed up here. Okay, so we have this. The prompts that come into this are data from the query, which has a child called takeshape, which has a child called courses, which is an array. And we're going to do takeshape courses. I think that's how you do that. And if we come in here, did this even remotely work? No. Cannot read property courses of undefined. Okay. Here. I've even written a post on that syntax and I can never remember it. Ooh. Cannot read courses of undefined. Is that because this query didn't previously exist? Maybe. Oh, no. No. Yes, data is undefined because the query didn't execute because it didn't exist when Gatsby compiled this originally. So we'll reset, recompile, come back. Okay, we're back. We should be able to reload this page and see some data coming in. With any luck. No. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, no, I know what's going on here. Again, we did this last week too. So this needs to be done via static query because this is not a page. So let's talk about how we do that. We're going to look for static query and we'll run this structure again. So in our upcoming courses list, we need to import static query from Gatsby. And around this guy, yeah, we need to wrap this whole thing in a static query. I swear there's 2 different syntaxes for this. Let's look that up. So again, the difference between a static query and the other type of query, the syntax that I wrote up at first, is that static queries aren't, well, they're static, they aren't dynamic, so they don't take in props that you can search based on, so there are no variables in the queries available to you. That's okay. You just need to know how and when to use it. So I thought there was a different syntax to this. I guess not. Look at that. Prop type's just like I had structure everything here. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, that's not too bad. I think we will do it that way. All right. So we're not going to wrap this thing in a static query. Instead, we're going to say export default. This guy. Static query. Query equals. And then we're going to grab this. I like it like that. Render equals data. And then here we want upcoming courses list. Data equals data. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, what the heck is this about? Let's explain what's going on here. So, identifier expected. What are you expecting an identifier about? So from top to bottom, we define what the upcoming course list will look like. We define its prop types, knowing that it'll have a data, take shape, courses, and all that stuff within it. We then define the GraphQL query, which will be sent into the static query component, which creates this whole thing, which is exported as the default from this file. What I don't necessarily understand is what this error is about, or if it's real. Oh, yes, I understand. I need that guy. And then a slash. All right, so now we have our static query plugged in. We now should be able to refresh this guy. Come back. We have props, we have data, we have take shape, we have courses, we have 2 courses in an array, just like we wanted. And we should be able to map them and render them out. Maybe. We can take that debugger line out, certainly. Oh, his course is not an array? Okay, that's easy enough to fix. And we got nothing. Okay. Oh, wait, it needs an items. Got it. Courses dot items dot map. did that not work? Something's going wrong here. Oh wow, look at that, I misspelled course. Great, that should do it. Easy enough to do. We just need to change this from display name to title. And there we go. And then we can come back to the courses index, get rid of that placeholder we dropped in here. And the page is starting to come together, my people. Do you see how this is starting to make sense? I hope so. All right, so we need to do some resizing of things on this right-hand column. I actually think that this gap here is incorrect on the production site, so we're gonna I think leave it for now. We need a border down here above each of these, or above the course list. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of detail work to be done to get this stuff sort of production ready. But you can see how this comes together pretty quickly, right? Like we just added this whole section here, which we can do in our upcoming courses list. In here, we're going to do import classes from upcoming courses.module.css. And here we're going to say h2 class name equals classes.list title. Did that work? It doesn't seem to be working. Ah, I see it's being overridden by something above it. From the courses module CSS. Okay, what we want to do is get rid of the font size bit here. And that already made a big difference. Okay, sorry, I'm getting lost in my head a bit here. We we want to, for my own sake, just to clear out this stupid brain here for a minute, I'm going to get rid of this whole module, just so we can see what this silly thing would look like. So, it should have upcoming courses in slightly larger font than these guys, meaning that upcoming courses list should have an H-dose for its title, and then all the upcoming courses should be H3s. We're creating some hierarchy here. It makes sense to me. And then we gotta go style those H3s. In probably our global. Nope. Do-do-do. Just trying to create hierarchy here. So we know we want this to be 20, and this one should probably be 18. 16. Yeah, that looks all right. I think that's okay. We're gonna put in this border above each course. So we'll do that from upcoming course.module.css by nice. Okay, I think that's right about where we need to be. And that'll do it for that. So we now need to put in this dotted line on this column, which looks like it's a dotted line on the left column as the right border. So courses, index.js, we've got this left column. Oops. Save that. In my courses module CSS, we will have our, this guy, and we'll do border, right, dashed, fair, gym, gray. And there it is. Ah, okay, but it does go fully top to bottom. So we're going to have to do some adjusting here. That's easy enough to do, though. We'll do padding top, 1 rem. And then we're going to, in the page content container, we'll do padding 0 rem, which will put that up at the top. We're going to need to give this one rim at its top as well. So we need to name that. There we go, that should do it. Provided I save this. Nice. Okay, great. So, let's take a look here, make sure these things are actually aligned. Looks to be to me. Lovely. So all of a sudden this page is looking pretty spot on. We need to put the borders above those lists. Classes, course list.module.css. Padding, top 1 rim, border, top 1 px solid, fair, gym gray. Save it. It should appear. Now we've got a nice spacer there. And we've got a nice even spacing. We need to adjust the font family on that bit of micro copy. And we're going to do that by saying rest here. Rest there. And passing in a class name. Classes dot course description. Course type description. So in here, we're going to have a course type description, which will drop at the bottom. Font family. And we're going to do var gym font stack, font weight, 300, I believe, and then font size, 30 pixels. Let's look at that. Oops. 20 pixels. 30 was way too big. Okay. Okay, no, actually that looks good. The sizes are slightly different. We'll do 22. And I'm going to say we're good with that. So each of those bits of microcopy, we will add that. And now suddenly, I'm going to go ahead and say that this page is equivocal. Got this Learn More button. I know I saw some errors in the console before, which we'll address now. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay, let's give this thing a refresh. Invalid prop data take shape courses of type object supplied to upcoming courses list. Expected an array. Let's see. This was a shape. It now has items, which is a prop types array of Nice. Okay, upcoming courses list has classes, which is never used. Okay. Sweet. So, my people, that would be the courses page all done. We do need to adjust this microcopy thing. Oh, so it does have a space in it, which is why that's fine. You know what? That's not hurting anyone. We'll let that be. We still need to get a description there. We need to populate this thing with courses, and then we are ready to take on the about page for each course. That's pretty freaking cool. What I'm going to do here is start a new... Well, did we ever merge that pull request? I believe we did. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Before we do that, let's look at what came from Dependabot. We'll merge these guys. We will move back to what I'm working on now, get that into its own branch for a new pull request, and clean this all up, and that'll be the end of the stream for the day. So this is Gatsby from 2.6 to 2.7.3. You can see a bunch of stuff happened here. We can go to the compare view, which should open Gatsby's compare list. Oh, this is going to be a bunch of commits. Okay. We're just going to look at the changelog. Blah. Changelog. See, Gatsby changelog. We fine. What are we moving from here? We're going from 2.6.0 to 2.7.3. Anything major in all of that? Version bump, updating docs, improve externals, merge user-defined types. Yeah. Cool. So nothing to be worried about there. We can merge this guy. Merging is blocked because I have not reviewed it. I can review it. Give it the old approval. Submit. Now merge it. Commit merge. I believe the branch will even be cleaned up, so I'm just going to let it be. And let's look at Gatsby image. From 2.0 to 2.1. Type script definitions. That's great. Shouldn't affect us even slightly. We'll resolve some conflicts here. Maybe. What's going on? We'll let the thing load. We're going to edit this. I know that you can add yourself as a reviewer. Right. Add someone as a reviewer. So I'll add myself. And do we have a label that's appropriate? We'll find it. My gosh. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working. We might have to get back to that. Actually, we can really just look at Gatsby image. It's in the Gatsby repo. Okay. Gatsby image. What is in the changelog here? So we're going from 210 to 211. Almost certainly nothing to be worried about. TypeScript stuff. Oh, right. That was the problem, is that I can't resolve the conflict. Oh, no. Okay, it looks like Dependabot might have done that for me. Cool. Oh, we'll approve this. We'll merge it. That all looks glorious to me. No real need to wait for Netlify to do its thing. Babel core, changelog, some bug fixes, some polish, some internal stuff. We'll approve this guy. Please let me review. Approved. Good work, everyone. And then finally, pluralize from 7 to 8. Few word changes. Oh yeah, okay. Pluralize changes are nothing to worry about. It literally just has to do with the English language, which we can trust them for. We'll add our review. We'll get this thing committed. Approve, submit. And we have successfully gone through our first round of Dependabot things, which in short means that all of our dependencies should be up to date in our environment. And if I go and create a new branch from which to start here, so I'm going to do create new branch from origin master. We're going to do feature slash courses page updates. Do that. We'll stash changes. We'll reapply them. And we'll give this whole thing an update, say add upcoming courses list. First I want to make sure. Yeah, I knew I saw that in there somewhere. Great, okay. Commit this, we will push it. And then we'll get that pull requested into, that's exactly what I wanted. Into the project. So I'll sign myself here. I will, we'll tell Andrew to check this thing out. Courses page is nearly done. Now all that, I believe, all that's left is populating it with content. To test, pull down this branch, run, to install dependencies, and start to fire it up, check out localhost 8000/courses. Go. We'll do enhancement. We will do projects. We don't really have any projects set up here. And I should add some documentation around this. That's actually not a bad idea. In the future, the upcoming courses list will be managed from and we'll link to those. There we go. All right, so that thing's out in the real world. We have pull requested it. We have submitted our code. We now have Dependabot set up to assign things to me. We will we'll let it be from there. That seems great. So Dependabot's going to run its thing every day, which means that I no longer have to update that stuff myself. I just have to look at the pull request, make sure it still runs. We're integrated with Netlify. We could work on Circle CI. We can do some React test library next. But structurally, the next thing I'm interested in, I think, apart from populating content on this page, is putting in the featured, the find a job content. That's the first bit of dynamic content on the site. And then, damn, this is coming together really fast. Getting the navigation stuff to work. We're moving quick, y'all. This feels real good. Yeah, I'm gonna call it quits here for the day on the live stream. I'll be back next week, same time, twitch.tv/irreverentmike or Twitter/irreverentmike if you want to shout at me in between here and there. And until then, I will see you online. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.